There are a lot of questions about the Denver Broncos edge room, and adding Gregory Rousseau could solve some of those questions, but it adds even more. Rousseau is an extremely long and athletic edge rusher, but he is super raw, and some draft analysts aren't sure where you exactly play him at. He opted out of the 2020 season, which leads to more questions because no one knows where he is at as a football player. When he opted out, the phrase said about him was he's more of an athlete than a football player, which is why the concern. Now with the Broncos, he could make sense depending on what ends up happening with Von Miller, with word being that they want to keep him at a reduced cost. With Miller in town, Rousseau makes sense to learn under Miller and develop before eventually taking over for Miller. That is the best way he fits with the Broncos because without Miller, there just are a lot more questions. Rousseau could learn under Bradley Chubb, but he is a very different style of edge rusher than Rousseau is. The issue with that is, while Rousseau can still pick up a lot, it may not always be the best things to pick up and fit his style of play. So his fit with the Broncos really does depend on Miller more than anything else because his scheme fit is also a solid one. With how athletically gifted and long Rousseau is, you can have him attack from multiple techniques, and he has good scheme versatility. What he needs around him are teachers who can develop him to be the type of player he is at a higher level, which is why it all comes down to what happens with Miller, who is the best player and coach the Broncos have to teach Rousseau. When the draft comes, it is going to be interesting to see just how NFL teams value Rousseau after he opted out. Teams, especially coaches, love athletically gifted players who are raw because you can teach them how to play football, but you can't teach them athleticism. For the full scouting report on Gregory Rousseau, check out milehighhuddle.com. For Mile High Huddle, I'm Eric Trickle.